Hello everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome to if you're brand new. I'm so happy to have you here. I want to talk about a big-ish topic, I guess, and that's creating goals. Doing the next right thing on your goal to move forward. I am going to be picking up some limbs and stuff from my orchard pruning video. I actually filmed that earlier this morning, and I'm just out here and I got thinking that, yeah, let's talk about some goals. So when you are doing anything, you need to have goals. You need to have a plan of where you want to be, and that's kind of where I start, and then I work backwards. What needs to be done first, what needs to be done second, and what needs to be this, that, and the other. And I try to get all of that out of the way a good deal beforehand. I will use my garden journal as a good example of this. I made my plans for my garden journal, as you guys have seen if you've watched that, the playlist. There is a playlist on my channel titled Garden Journal 2024, I think, or 24, something like that. And yeah, I knew what I had to do. I knew that I needed a new apple tree, so that gets me working out in the orchard, but I just needed it anyways, and I needed trees pruned also, hence the last video. Also, I knew I needed to, I knew I wanted to do more flowers, so in turn, I had to get another space finished, which I am working very diligently on that space. There will be a video covering all that I've accomplished this weekend, because I have accomplished quite a lot on my list, and a few other things that come up, but that also leads me into my next thing. When you are doing anything, you will realize that if you are doing certain things, that things will come up. And by come up, I mean that you just have things that you want to do, or more things. So by creating a plan, you're able to not only just do that in its beginning phases, but you are also able to work on that even more in adding different things that you weren't thinking about in the before when you created your plan. Like when I was thinking about creating that side space, I was not thinking about adding in the spaces for my, almost fell, adding in the spaces for blueberry bushes. I thought that was going to be a completely different space, and then thinking, okay, well, I know I need to do that, or I know I need blueberry bushes. The opportunity arose, and now I have blueberry bushes that need to be transplanted before being planted, and then those will be growing in my spaces. The side space with flowers. So that whole space is going to be very different, and they might not even go there, but the plan is right now for them to go there, at least in my head, is for them to go there along with the flowers, or maybe not with the flowers, and create a whole nother space for them to go. We did have blueberry bushes before, a long time ago. We did not know where they needed to go, where we were going to put them, and they died. So that also brings me to, funny how these things work out. This brings me to my other topic, is you don't want to jump the gun on things. You don't want to, and it's easy when you're creating your goal to be like, okay, well, I know I want this, this, that, and that. Let's go ahead and get it. Don't just get and get and get. I lost a peach tree that way. I lost blueberries that way. And if I don't get them planted this year, I'm gonna lose grapevines as well. And I was not thinking about that in the beginning. I was just excited that I was able to start gardening and everything along those lines, that I was able to finally have a dream come true in that regard. And years down the line, the dreams have died, because plants have died, and that is really sad, because if we would have waited, it would have been better. But I was not knowledgeable on that. I did not exercise patience in that regard at all. I just wanted them then. I wanted them right then. And if I would have waited, we would have figured out a perfect plan for them to be where they needed to go. We still don't have that plan down. 2 or 3 years later, we don't have that. Where we're going to put them. We have spaces to put them. We just have not narrowed it down to the correct space that we are going to put them in. But I know I just got the plants. They are going to be perfectly fine. Up until then, we might end up getting more, depending upon plans. But we have a space. I have 2 or 3 spaces that they could go in, and I'm just waiting to see how things work. So yeah, that's another one of the topics. But in creating your goals, you will, back to the other topic, or back to the one before this, you will find little things that you weren't sure of. I created my plan knowing that the front side space over there needed to be finished, because that's where I was going to be focusing a lot of my flower efforts on. It also was a convenience type thing, because my parents wanted more color. We have azalea bushes all around our house, and they only show color for like a week or 2 and they're gone. So planting flowers like zinnias or trying out sunflowers, I'm going to see how they go, I'm able to expand that and really get into some other things. And that's wonderful. I'm able to add in the color, which is what I wanted for flowers, but I'm also able to give them what they wanted. Well, I just wanted the flowers, not really the color. And they wanted the color, so perfect compromise, adding in flowers. So yeah, it's just chipping away at things. This weekend, I don't even know what day it is. It's Sunday the something. Sunday the 18th. So yesterday the 17th, and this will continue in tomorrow. A lot has been done. I have done a lot, and it has been amazing just to be outside. It's been cold, but it's been fun. Having spaces, being able to work out here and just get stuff done, really clears my head and just goes, and it reaffirms the plan. I mean, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I mean, quite literally, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, not just sit on the ground and film a video, but video is fine. Video is good too. But I want to farm. I want to learn in the ways of everything. Broader term would be homestead. I want to homestead. That's what I want to do. No, we aren't off-grid at all. We are very much in a neighborhood. And I'm using the spaces that I have to a good ability. Are they maxed out? Absolutely. Gardening is going to be maxed out this year, I do believe. Chickens are maxed out. So I'm using the spaces. But now, and I realize this, it's been 2 years that I've been trying to get to this point of being efficient with the systems that I've already had in place. Now, you should think about efficiency beforehand, and like I said with jumping the gun, you shouldn't jump the gun and just get whatever. But if the situation does arise that you do that, you will need to you will need to think about efficiency. You will need something that is efficient. You will need something that is easy to use, and that is going to ultimately make your life easier with things. That's what efficiency is, whether it's an automatic feeder that you fill up every day or a big one that you fill up every week or whatever. You want to be able to make those systems efficient, but you also need to, like I said, visit those every single day. So the chickens are going to keep you out there because you're going to be wanting to collect those eggs. You're going to be needing to collect those eggs. and you'll be able to do that. So that is a lot of good knowledge to have. Things that I wish that I had very much considered beforehand, but when I started this was 4 years ago. I was 15. I had no clue what I was doing, and looking back, whoa, I was 15. That's crazy. That's crazy. The realization just hit me because I haven't thought about it like that. But yeah, I've been doing this since I was 15, and I've learned a lot. And I've learned a lot in a neighborhood. I have learned a lot with taking care of chickens. I have quite literally used the resources that I have, and now it's just needing to make those spaces even more efficient to where they are. Now I added in ducks and all of that, and that's where things can get tricky because yeah, ducks and water are messy, and they require daily attention, which is not bad. I mean, I love them, so it doesn't matter. But when hoses are frozen and things like that, that can draw out chores, because I have waited to do chores until way later when the hoses are unthawed. And I mean, not with feeding. I'll feed regularly in the morning, but like with waters, I'll wait to do waters until midday because it's just what has to be done. And that's what works best for me. Now, somewhere else that whatever, you're not going to be able to do that. But me, I also have the ability to be able to do that. And my chickens drink out of different waters. I haven't really talked about this a lot, but I've retired my waters, the traditional waters that I did, at least for the season. It just was crazy. Them freezing, we've had too many nights where it's been below freezing, and those things are not easy to clean out. So for the time being, they were retired, and they have been, but I know that very shortly, very, very shortly, they will be coming back, and that's going to be another added thing on top of chores. Now, I could keep doing things the same way that I've been doing, but I also need water to stay in there and not run out halfway through the day. Just stuff like that. I do want to touch again on creating a plan. Where do you want to be? What goals do you want to finish for the year? I just did a gardening thing, but a lot of those other things have turned into okay, well, this is not just a long time thing. This is a all-around farm thing now. I just did a gardening one, though. Maybe I can set you guys up in this tree. I just did a gardening one. That's all that I did. The gardening journal with my goals for the year. And it has turned into so much more. And having my list, or having what I need to do down on a list that I can feasibly check off, and it's not just like a little mental note of, okay, it's done now. That helps a lot. Now, whether you want to do that or not, that's up to you. Some people that doesn't work at all. But if it helps, do it. Or if you think it would help, try it. There's no sense in there's no waste in trying something. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. That's the joy about plans and stuff like that. They're adjustable. Now, if something were to happen and these spaces were not done this year, which I don't want that to be the case, I want this year to be a very productive year, then I would be rushing around. I'm starting in February, where I can direct sow in April. Actually, I'll be direct sowing carrots in March. Not the point, though. My garden stuff doesn't really get started until April. I could have waited until April to finish all of this stuff, and then I would be overrun with things to do. I wouldn't have any time to do anything else, and I have free time, and the days are warmer, so I'm out here doing this stuff, which is very, very helpful to be able to do. So it's checking these things off. I mean, some things I have to wait. Like, I have weeded the garden, around the garden. I can't do that yet. I mean, I probably could, but like before I plant, I need to weed eat around the garden. That's something that I know needs done. And it will eventually get to that point where everything on my list is finished and it's just garden maintenance and stuff like that. And then at that point in midsummer, I will be creating another list. I'll be creating another plan for fall. What needs to be finished in fall for the garden to be able to thrive in the winter? Because I plan on growing through the winter this year. I've talked about this loosely in a few videos. I plan on growing through the winter. So what needs to be done before that? I know my greenhouse cover needs to get on. Greenhouse cover is a big thing. What I'm doing now, actually, is going to set up new trellis areas. New trellis areas that are going to compromise putting that up. So I'm going to have to take the trellises down. I know that, but taking a trellis down takes 5 minutes, and I could use this whole garden, or at least part of it, all winter long, and be growing food for my family, which in turn is more important for me, which is more important to me. So I'm going to be doing so many things to get ready for this gardening season while I can, because that's what needs to be done. I have gardening stuff that needs done. I have chicken coop stuff that needs to be done. I have new beds that I'm working on for my garden. We're going to be adding in an herb garden. Never thought I was going to be an herb garden type guy, but here we are. And getting spaces prepared. I have new kiddie pools that I need to get to be able to plant. I need those drilled. I have a whole nother garden that I have to clean out. And it's things like that that are special. Very, very special, no matter how frustrating in the moment, because yeah, some things get very frustrating in the moment where you're not going to want to go out there when it's cold and do this, that, and the other, but you need to. You're going to rake a pile in your yard 5 times because you have chickens that are scratching stuff up because it wasn't gotten up. But I would rather do this stuff now. I'd rather do this in the winter where there is downtime. I mean, there's downtime a lot with certain things, because when you're ahead, you're ahead. And that's the good thing about that, is once I'm finished with all of this garden maintenance stuff, my garden's done. I have to stay on top of regular maintenance. I have to weed, I have to weed eat, I have to harvest, I have to prune, I have to trellis, I have to do things like that. But if everything else is done on the front end and everything is prepared for that time, and I'm using gardening as a relative term here, it's going to be so much easier for you in the long run to be able to accomplish your goals. Yes, it's going to get hard when it gets 105 here for days on end and weeks on end even, but that's okay. I'm going to think back to this time, and I'm going to write it in my garden journal as well. I'm going to think back to this time right now where all I want to do is sit in a garden and eat tomatoes. And that's going to give me enough courage, enough motivation is the better word besides courage, is going to give me enough motivation to continue going. When the flowers in the front are showing out and struggling with the heat, I'm going to be motivated that, okay, well, we can plant more flowers. We can have an even better showing. We can do this, and so many other things. And maybe I'm using bad examples here, but that's what life's about. You have to take things, you gotta give things, and ultimately, you're gonna find things that work and find things that don't work. That's what happens, is you'll find some things that work very well, and you'll find some things that don't work at all. We have found out in 4 years of raising animals that meat birds where we are not feasibly something that we can do. We've done it. We could continue doing it, but it's not feasibly something that we can do and continue doing for much longer. So like I said, 2024 is, if you've watched that video, we're not doing meat. That's something that I had to learn. That's something that, yeah, the experience is wonderful. I know how to do that now, but we're not doing it this year. We're going to cut back on some areas, but expand in others. And sometimes that's what you have to do. For a year or two, or a season, a small season, whatever, you need to be able to learn and to grow in that regard, and you can't just be so stuck in... It's good to be stuck in your ways, but to a point. You can't just be so stuck in your ways that nothing can ever change. If you are in the point where you don't want anything to ever change... Sorry, someone is walking and playing very loud music. If you're so stuck in your ways that you don't want anything to change, or you just can't handle the change, it's not good, but it's not like the worst thing. Obviously, it's not good, but you have to be able to grow. You have to be able to change. You have to be able to let go of some things for a season. And letting go of things is very hard. I'm not saying that it's not hard. I'm not saying that it's easy at all, because it's not easy. There will be great losses that you have. There will be times where, whoa, you just don't know what to do. I've lost so many chickens, and it's like, do I want to even continue raising chickens or getting more birds? Of course I do. It's something that I'm always going to do. It's just difficult in the moment. Am I going to do this or that or whatever? It's in the moment. Frustration, and in the moment this, and in the moment that, or whatever. But you really need to take into account and realize that, okay, we're struggling here right now. Let's not make a decision on what is going to ultimately change what the goal is. If it is something that you are completely unsure of, reevaluate your goal. If you know for a fact that, like, okay, example here. My family doesn't eat a lot of peppers. I tried growing peppers for a few years. We don't eat a lot of peppers at all, so I don't need to grow peppers at all. I mean, there's really no reason for me to grow them unless we're going to do salsa or something like that. I grow corn. A lot of people don't grow corn, but we go through a good deal of corn in the summer and into the fall, because I have no clue, but that's what we do. I plant a bunch of tomatoes because I love tomatoes. I will eat every single tomato that ripens on 50 plants. And it's not good, but like, I do it. But yeah, that's what you have to do. I would never dedicate my whole garden to tomatoes. I would never dedicate my entire garden to one plant, but that's what I would do. Now, if that's what you want to do, if you want to grow your entire garden with potatoes, plant your entire garden with potatoes and do that. That's wonderful. Or if you want a bunch of tomatoes, or if you want a bunch of corn or carrots or roots or green beans. If you want green beans, go with green beans. Plant something that you're going to like. Cut out the things that you don't want. Just because I'm growing them doesn't mean that you have to grow them. I can use me and Reagan as an example for the podcast, with the podcast channel. Where was this going to go? She doesn't like tomatoes, so they don't grow a bunch of fresh eating tomatoes. They grow a bunch to can and use the products from that. I like fresh eating. We're also not very knowledgeable on canning or anything like that, but I like the fresh eating, so I grow a bunch of smaller cherry varieties. She tried ground cherries last year. She didn't really like them, so I'm trying them this year. She gave me the seeds for them, but if I don't like them, I'm not going to grow them again. But I'm going to at least try it once or twice, or once, and if the plant doesn't do well and I don't get any fruit, then I will try again, of course. If you have failure, I fully believe in trying again. But That's what I'm going to do. Like last year, my corn harvests were crap. They were doo-doo. And this year, I'm hoping to completely get rid of a crap harvest of corn. I realized what I did last year. I realized what happened last year. And I plan on completely getting rid of that aspect. So, in turn, this has been a very long video. So sorry about that. But yeah, I do think this is very important. I think it's important to look back at your goals and to see different things. Like if you don't like milk, or your family doesn't drink milk, don't get a cow. If your family doesn't eat a lot of chicken, don't do a bunch of meat birds. Maybe get a group of 10 for the whole year, or maybe that's a year and a half for you guys, or whatever. It doesn't matter. Do your own things and you will eventually find out what works for you. And sometimes, a lot of the time, it is trial and error. Sometimes you will feel very, very defeated, and sometimes you will want to give up. In those moments, that's when I encourage you the most. Reevaluate your plan. Take a moment and realize and be like, okay, this is not at all what I want to do. Or it's going to give you the motivation to completely turn around and be like, this is what I want to do. This is the next thing on my list. Let's knock it out. Or give me some time to just think things through. And sometimes that's good, is to think things through and be like, okay, I know I need to do this. This can be something for a slightly later date. I need time to rest right now. And that's what the winter is really for, is to take time to rest and to plan out your garden, or to order chicks, or whatever it is that you're going to do. A lot of my stuff with birds isn't happening until late May because I can't do that right now. I mean, I could hatch out, I could do this, that, and the other, but I'm not going to. I'm going to hold out until May when the weather is a little bit nicer and once the garden is planted. But I'm not going to have any chicks or anything until after that point. And it could be later than that. We still have turkeys from last year that need processed. I still have a group of meat birds that need to be processed. I also need to fix a coop. I have so many other things that need to happen. I need to get rid of ducks. I need to get rid of stuff. The coop needs fixed too, which that's at least before winter right now. But see, there's all these different variables that fall into place here. And sometimes the variables are easy. Sometimes they're very hard. Sometimes they are a hard decision that you have to make. I personally, I believe in that the harder decisions that you need, the hardest decisions, and this is true not all the time, but a lot of the times it is. Sometimes the hardest decisions are often the right ones. The easiest, if you're making a decision and it's easy, it shouldn't be easy to make a decision like that. I have thought long and hard about getting rid of these ducks. I have also thought long and hard about about the amount of work that is going to be going into these new gardening spaces and all of that. And I'm prepared for it. Like right now, I'm prepared for it. In the middle of July, am I going to be prepared for it? I'm not completely sure. But I know I made a promise to myself. I made a promise to you guys. And I'm going to do good content. I'm not going to do any crappy content this year. So that's what I have to do. And ultimately, it's going to push me to do the things. I don't have to get everything done at one time or one day or anything. You have different days. You have different things that you do on different days. Or sometimes you wake up and you feel like accomplishing a bunch or nothing at all. That's okay. Sometimes you have those days. But you have to jump back on that horse. You have to take the reins and you have to start doing the things that need to be done after the fact. Yeah, and don't let your weeds get too bad to where you have to weed eat your garden beds, or where you have to just... So many other things. My neighbor's coming home. There are so many other things that you could potentially be doing. And I'm not here to tell you that there is any right way to do anything. Because there is no right way to do anything. I'm growing in a kiddie pool. Among other things. But I'm growing in a kiddie pool. A lot of people's never heard of doing that. A lot of people have never seen it. So I'm thankful that I get to be able to show people that, yeah, you can grow in a kiddie pool. I'm also going to be setting up a trellis here in my arch trellis on my greenhouse frame. I'm going to be setting up not trellises. I'm going to be setting up different things. I'm going to be using pool noodles to support my arch trellis. Like, who in the world has ever heard of something like that? I'm going to do it. Make your own way. Make your own path to get to where your goals are. And yeah, also, I want this to be very much known. Your goals are not going to be accomplished the first few years. They're not going to look exactly how you want the first few years. You're not going to be growing in ideal situations the first few years. It's going to be rough. Believe me, it's going to be rough. You're not going to have all the chickens that you want in the first year, and I urge you not to ever get all the chickens that you're going to ever want in the first year, because then you're going to have all your birds not laying at one time. Get new birds every year until you get to that point, and maybe get rid of some older hens, stuff like that. But you're not going to get to the point where everything is completely perfect in a year, because it's not going to be. It's not going to be 2 or 3. It probably won't be 2 or 3 years. It depends on how much help you have, obviously, and what else you're doing. I don't have a lot of help in my garden. And by not a lot of help, I mean, if I ask people, I have some help. But a lot of the things I also prefer doing on my own. Like my tomatoes. I enjoy doing that on my own. I enjoy growing on my own. But sometimes I need help. Sometimes I need some help, and I do admit that. I do ask for help when it's needed. Like planting corn. I know my sister loves, probably not loves, I know my sister enjoys doing that. So I'll ask for her help planting one bed while I plant the other. And that's teamwork on your beds, but also tag teaming the planting. And that's good. Very good. So yeah, it's stuff like that, and I don't mean to ramble, and I feel like this is what this has turned into, is a bunch of rambling. But I also feel like there's some good points in here that, I don't know, it's just, this topic, and I'm thinking back to last year when I had no motivation whatsoever to do a lot of the stuff that needed to be done, even though I was filming and I was doing this and doing that. But there was no goal anymore. There was no hope, I guess is the right word. There was no dream, no passion. I'm happy to say that it's not that way anymore, but there was that point where there was that, and I look back to that and I'm like, I can't do that again. If I do that again, then it's not right. I'd be missing out on another year. Last year, I do strongly believe that last year was a learning curve for me. I wasted almost a whole year on bad content. And that's okay, that's what I call it. On bad content. I wasted a whole year on not really teaching at all. And I don't want that. I want to teach. I want to show you guys how to do things. I want to show you guys how to make urban spaces efficient and worth your while, because that's what I'm doing. That's what I have now, and that's what I'm going to continue showing until I don't have this anymore. Until I get a larger property, and I'm going to show you guys how to make those spaces efficient. I'm going to show you guys how you can best use your resources on a larger scale. But right now, where I'm at is showing you guys what you can do in urban spaces, and how you can best use your spaces and maximize the small spaces. I show you guys multiple different ways to do things. I'm using kiddie pools. I'm testing the limits of kiddie pools this year. I'm testing the limits of 5-gallon buckets. I'm packing my beds full of things to show you guys what you can do in just a small number of spaces. And really comparing different things. Because that's important. So, to make a long topic I'm yawning. Y'all probably are too. To make a long topic short, your garden should be something that you're proud of. You should always be encouraged to do something new. No matter how difficult, and it is going to be difficult, there are going to be times that you want to quit, and that's, like I said, those are the moments that you need to try harder. Maybe not try harder in a sense, but reevaluate your plan, try different things, and work a little bit harder. Or slow down. If that's why you're feeling that way, slow down a little bit, because you're already working yourself, you're exhausting yourself. Take a step back and slow down and think about how things are, and think about all the things. I do YouTube. A lot of the times it's easier to just film, or a lot of the times it's just easier to get things done instead of filming. And that's the truth. It's a lot to pick up a camera and to be like, okay, I have to do this. But that's what I want to do. I want to teach you guys how to do this. And teaching, I'd rather it take an extra 20 minutes to do something, film a video, get good content out of it, but also accomplish things in my garden that need to be accomplished. I'd rather it take that much longer to teach you guys. I'd rather it take that much longer to show you guys that you can do this too. And that's what my channel's all about. That's what it's been all about, and that's what it's going to continue to be all about, because I want to prove to you guys, well, it's proving to you, but proving to me and proving to everybody else that you can do this. I was once told that my dreams were stupid, that farming is not a real career, that gardening is not a real this, that, or the other. And I'm sorry to break it to you. It is. And your dreams matter. You are able to do the things that you want to do. If your hobby is something that is able to be turned into your job, and most of the time it is, make a job out of it. Do your job. Do the things that you like doing. Do this as your hobby. Turn your hobby into your job, because if you turn your hobby and something that you love into your job, you're never going to be bored a day in your life. You're going to be incredibly happy all the days of your life, if anything. It's not going to feel like work. You're going to be doing the thing you love. So when I'm out here doing stuff in the garden, sometimes it feels like work. Sometimes it's not good. And yes, there are going to be moments when it feels like work. You're not going to want to weed every single garden bed all the time. You're not going to want to do this. You're not going to want to do this all the time. Sometimes you'd rather just harvest. And that's understandable. But turn it into something. Turn your hobby into something that you like doing. Make it your job, and you will never work a day in your life. In actuality, I mean, you'll be working, but you know what I'm saying. You'll be working, but it'll be a little bit different. It'll be something that you love doing, and that's very important. And that's what I want to continue doing and want to continue striving to do, because I want to do this for the rest of my life, and being able to do this for the rest of my life is important to me and important to what I want to do. I'm starting now. I started when I was 15, like I said earlier in this video. Starting when I was 15, I am now 19. I've learned so much in just 4 years, and this is an urban space. This is not me implementing everything that I've learned, everything that I know, or even close to everything that I've learned. And it makes me so happy that I can see the growth. It's been 4 years, and I have seen so much growth. I have a wonderful garden. I have a spectacular garden. It's my garden. It's beautiful. It's lovely, and it's unique. And that's important to realize, is looking back 4 years from today, it was different. Everything was very different. I can look back at these spaces. I was looking back at old pictures the other day on my phone. My long beds, my arch trellis bed and my tomato beds, none of these were here, and it looked so weird. And would I go back and change any of that? Absolutely not. I would not change a single thing, because it's grown so much. Start small and expand where you need to or where you want to, and eventually you'll get to the size that you have. Or don't overdo it in the beginning. That's really the whole point of this, and a very long video at right now is And a lot of it's been repetition and repeating things and everything else. But do the things that you want to do. Turn your passions into something useful. Your passions are useful no matter what, but turn it into something where you can help others. Or do this, that, or whatever it is that you're going to do. I can only use my life as an example here, and I don't think that it fully encompasses everything that needs to be talked about. So, yeah, that's that's kind of everything that I wanted to talk about in a very long video. But yeah, I urge you guys to do what you want to do, to start your passions, to start where you are. You don't have, if you want to do art, you don't have to wait to have a studio. You can do art in your bedroom, or your kitchen, or your dining room table, or whatever. You can start anywhere. Don't let your current situation hold you back or limit you or anything like that, because if you let it limit you, then you're not going to start until the ideal time. And the ideal time, I'm sorry to tell you, the ideal time is never going to happen. You can wait for the ideal time over and over and over and over and over and over again. And I talked about this in my video of why I started YouTube. And if you want to watch the full thing, you can go over there and watch that. But I talked about I was going to wait to start YouTube until I got more land, because I thought that was ideal. That was the ideal situation, was to wait until I got more land to be able to show more things, to be able to show you guys different aspects than what I'm already doing. And more I got thinking, and more I was just like, whatever. I can show you guys what I'm doing now. Already have an audience going forward, and you guys are going to be able to see the growth, and I'm going to be able to see the growth. It's going to change so much in a short amount of time, that I'm going to be able to grow so immensely that it's going to be overpowering. And I've already grown a lot in 4 years. I've only been doing YouTube for 2, and I'd say the last 2 were the best years that I've had in the garden. Everything else, I've learned so much. We've added new spaces. We've done this, and that, and there's so many new spaces that I want to be doing. And I'm talking to you guys right now instead of going over there and finishing a space that needs done. Truth about that, it doesn't need done right now. It could wait a while longer, but I already started and I would like to finish it. But I'd rather talk to you guys about this topic, because I think so many people get caught up in, oh, I'm going to wait for the ideal time, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, or, oh, I'm going to wait to do this because of this, or whatever. You're not going to find the ideal time. If you're waiting to do that, you're going to be overwhelmed at one time, because if I would have waited until I got my future farm, and I'm going to do this quick so I can wrap it up. If I would have waited for the ideal time, I would have been putting in gardens, I would have been building infrastructure, I would have been planting, I would have been raising new animals, I would have been filming. All new things. And I don't want it to be new. I really don't. So I film now. I show you guys the content. I know how to do different gardening spaces now. And that's good. And I can use gardens, I can use different things. Are they going to look perfectly how I want the first year? No. Let go that it's not going to work out the first time. It's not going to look how you want it to the first time, or anything like that. It takes time. All great things take time. So, to make a long video shorter, trying to. You guys can do this. Listen to advice. Listen to people who have been where you want to do. If you want to really learn something, start watching videos on what you want to do. Watch people talking about making goals and stuff like this. So many things. I just can't even do that. Before I even got into any of this, I started watching people on YouTube. Roots and Refuge, Justin Rhodes, Blue Cactus Dairy Goats, Weed 'em and Reap. I still watch Blue Cactus Dairy Goats and Weed 'em and Reap. And I don't have goats. But I want goats, and I want to be able to make right choices. And that's what I believe that both of them really teach. Danelle goes so in-depth in genetics. I wish she would go more in-depth, actually. Because she wants to make good choices. She wants to breed on not just the best of the best, but she wants to improve what she already has. She has helped me immensely. I don't have goats. I have knowledge from what she's shown. but I'm able to make those same choices with my ducks. It's not the exact same at all by any means, but when I get goats, I know that that's what I want to do. I don't just want to get goats and, all willy-nilly with them and breed on things that shouldn't be bred on. It's going to take time. It's going to be an effort. You are going to spend money up front on whatever you are going to do. I would rather spend more money up front on an animal than to sacrifice something else with the animal. Health, bad this, bad that, whatever. But enough on that rant. Truth and point, if you're having to do something twice, or you're having to, like, if you're having to buy, like today, we went to Dollar General. They had the little garden nozzles out there. They had one for $4, and I was like, okay, well the $4 one's cheaper, I'm gonna get this one. I was thinking about it because I watched the video last night from Roots and Refuge, and she was like, would you rather spend the $4, something break, and then you already have to turn around and go buy something else? Are you wasting, you're wasting money at that point, and you're also not doing it, whatever. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to be whatever for all things. No, I'm not going to go out and buy, like, whatever. I'm not crazy with spending. But you are going to find things like that where you are going to have to spend more money up front to be able to get the things that you want, or to be able to make sure that you get the longest life out of it. Taking care of stuff, also, very big thing. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys for watching. This video is very, very long. So incredibly sorry for it being this long. If you have stuck around to the very, very end, leave a comment of what your goals are, what your dreams are, what this or that or whatever it is that you want to do. And I'm going to be here rooting for you. I'm a gardener, so I can use gardening references. No, anybody can. I'm going to be here rooting for you guys because I want to see everybody succeed in ways that are beyond measure. So leave what you want to do in the comments below, and let's accomplish them. If you want somebody, if you just need inspiration or whatever, do that. Form community with people. Find artists. Make an Instagram account or whatever. That's how I met Reagan. Do this, that, and the other, and start growing. Make an Instagram account with your art, or your chickens, like what I did, or your garden, or whatever it is. Make that a forefront, I guess. Form community, and you're not going to be disappointed. So thank you guys for watching. I will see you in another video in a while, because this one needs some time to sit. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one. Bye, y'all.